everybody, a little bit of a different video today. Today we are tackling this room and this wall. We are going to be doing a little bit of some DIYs on it. You want to say hello? We are going to Home Depot. We're going to pick up some boards, some trim boards. We're going to do a little board and batten on this wall, I think. And then I've also got to tackle the disaster, because this is what happens. I broke my toe tripping on that.
And I have a birthday.
Yep, you've got a birthday party to go to. So I need to clean it up so I have no more accidents. And I need to be able to use this room, you know, for its purpose instead of it looks like this. This is our front room and it's just a nightmare. So we are going to get that cleaned up and decorated and nice. We're going to do a DIY on this wall, and we're gonna go to, like I said, we're gonna go to Home Depot. I'm gonna pick up some new tools that I'm really excited for. So I'm gonna take you along with us, and we will kind of redo this space, which we are very excited for. So at Home Depot, we needed a couple different things. This is a trim piece that's 4 inches tall and it is 16 feet long, and I believe it's about an inch wide. So this is going to be our main piece that goes across our entire wall. Now, because this is so huge, we needed to cut it down. Our wall itself is about 15 feet. We wanted to try to not have any seams in this project, but there was just no way that we were going to be able to get this home in one piece. So we just used the saw and table that Home Depot has out that you can cut your pieces down yourself. We cut that in half, and we also grabbed 5 of these other boards. These are 2.5 by 8 foot boards. Again, the same width at 1 inch. You want to make sure that all your trim pieces are the same width so that everything matches up perfectly. So we did grab 5 of those. We wanted to do 4 foot in height on our wall, so we could cut these ones in half. All right, we got back from Home Depot. I wasn't able to do a whole lot of filming in there just because, have you ever tried going into Home Depot with little kids? It's impossible, because the whole time you're just trying to get them to stop doing what they're doing. But we got the boards that we needed. We got some paint. We got some other things. I got a little mini nail. Well, it's not mini, but like a brand nailer. I wanted one for some projects that I was doing, so got one of those. We're back. Yep.
For my birthday.
Yeah, that was fun, huh? So now we are going to clear all of this, so that we can work on that wall. So that's what we're gonna do. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. So the first thing we did was measure how tall we wanted it. And like I said before, we wanted this about 4 feet tall. So my husband took a leveler and drew a line to make sure that everything was nice and level. The weird thing about our house is the ground isn't level. So we kind of had to play around with the line and try to figure out how to get that line as level as possible. And then we went through and marked where all the studs were in the wall so that our top piece could be nailed to the studs. Now, when I'm saying we, a lot of this is mostly my husband taking on this project while I do a lot of the help with the painting. He is, you know, he's my handyman. I am not super great at math, and that is something I'm not afraid to admit. And when it comes to measuring things and figuring out where everything needs to go, I'm just not super great at it. So I have him to help me with all of those things. I have the design in mind. He is the one who's great at executing these larger projects. So he's helping me out here today. So this was a dual project. We're both doing it together, and with the two of us, we'll make it look great. So we added some liquid nails to the back, and we are going to attach our first piece of trim
to the top of where we want our board and batten to go, making sure that the entire thing is level before we add our nails. He just goes through and nails in right where those studs are in the wall where he had marked them previously. He did do angled cuts on the end of this trim to make it match up a bit better rather than just having a straight cut down the middle. I personally feel like having your cuts angled and pushed together make it look a little bit more seamless, but if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. It's not a necessary thing. So again, you're just going to measure out your trim, how long you need it to be, and add it to your wall. Now again, like I said, our floor isn't completely level, so each piece of trim that we add on, we had to measure separately. Kind of obnoxious, but each piece was just a tad bit different in length. There may have been a better way to go about it, but this is what we did for our first project. And I mean, I think it turned out great. You can't really tell that things aren't completely, perfect, but I think it worked out. We added our 2 side pieces first. Again, just using liquid nails and nailing those in to the corners. And then we took the measurement from inside of that box, figured out how many slats that we wanted on our board and batten, and divided it up by that number. And then Matt just went through and drew some lines so that we would know where each of those boards needed to go. After he has everything drawn out, he's just going back through and making sure that in between each piece is going to be the same length. Now we'll just go through again, adding that liquid nails on the back. He'll go ahead and add that board onto that line that he's drawn. And then with that leveler, he'll make sure that the board is nice and straight and level so that nothing is crooked. Once he's got it where it needs to go, he's just taking the nailer and adding some nails on both sides of the board to keep it nice and secure to the wall. And then you're just going to repeat that step for however many boards that you want to do. I think we had about 21 inches between each board. We didn't want them to be too far apart, but I feel like this was a good distance for how big our wall was. Your next step is to go through and add some wood filler to all of your holes that you have done using your nail gun, as well as any seams that you may have. So we added some wood filler where any of the boards met, so at the top and at the bottom, and then that seam in the middle at the top. Once your wood filler is dry, you can go through and sand that all down so that when you paint, you have a nice smooth finish. The next step is to go through with some caulking to all of your seams around the wall. So anywhere where it's touching the wall, you want to add it so there are no gaps or holes showing on your piece. Everything looks nice and smooth and seamless. We let that dry overnight. I'm going through with a damp lint-free cloth and I am just wiping everything down, getting it ready to paint, trying to get off as much dust or anything that might be left over from sanding down the wood filler, adding the caulking, whatever it is. I just want my entire surface to be completely clean. We're going to go ahead and tape off our piece, making sure that we have tape where we don't want any paint to be. So around the entire thing, making a big long rectangle, and then onto the floor. We also added some plastic to the floor, so we made sure not to get any paint on the floor. We picked up this paint from Home Depot. It was called Farm Fresh. We paired it with the Bear Scuff Defense since it's going to be in a high trafficked area, and we decided to give it 2 coats of paint. Apparently you can get a free little spout when you buy this paint. We didn't realize that. We saw it on the top of the paint can after we got home. So if you're buying this paint, make sure to get your free little spout so that you can just pour your paint into your dish a lot easier. The first coat of paint we went through with a paintbrush and a roller, the paintbrush to get into all those nooks and crannies, and then the second coat we just went in with the roller so that you wouldn't have any of those paint strokes throughout your piece. And here is all painted. I love it so much. I think it turned out really, really pretty, especially for it being our first time ever really tackling a project like this. It's not perfect by any means, but I think that it looks so beautiful against the white, against our flooring. I just think it looks so good. As we took off the painter's tape, we did have a bit of bleeding, and to fix that, my husband just went around with a really thin card that he had along with a wet paper towel. We made sure to peel the tape before it had dried completely, so he was able to go through and just kind of wipe down any areas that bled and cleaned everything up. Now, the last part to this is getting everything nice and clean. I am really bad at keeping this front area clean, especially because it's an area where I take a lot of my finished pictures for projects that I was working on. I take a lot of pictures for any of the home decor and tumblers that we sell on our website. So this is kind of my picture area. I need to find a new area to do all of that, but I want to have this area actually usable for a front living space. If somebody comes to my home and we just want to chit chat for a minute, we can be up here. Or, you know, when anybody just comes to the door, they're not walking into an absolute disaster. So we cleaned all that up. We moved our sideboard back to the front of the hallway, and I just redecorated the top, kind of moved everything back where it should go. This is a mixture of Hobby Lobby finds, DIYs that I've done, and craft kits available on my website. And I'm still leaving the bunnies up for probably all spring because I think that they are super cute. And here is everything clean and everything is put away and everything just feels so much nicer to be in that room. I still want to do curtains on the windows and maybe a couple other different things in this room to change it up a little bit, but I'm loving the way that it looks right now, and I'm loving the green on this wall. I just think it's so perfect. It's popping off of that white, and it just adds the perfect accent to our home.
And that's it. We are done with the board and batten on the wall. Now, the only thing that I have to figure out now is what to put up here. I really think that I want to add some sort of like gold mirrors or some sort of gold accents to the top. I just feel like it looks way too plain right now. So it definitely needs something above it. Let me know what you would do. Would you put, I was thinking like gold mirrors or something along those lines. Let me know your thoughts. Give me some ideas on what I can do on this huge white wall above, and I can give you guys an update later. If you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, I always post kind of like little updates on there. So if you want to stay tuned to see what I do with the upper part, definitely follow my Instagram or Facebook, and you can kind of get those real-time updates as we do them. But overall, I think it turned out really, really great. And this is the first time that we've ever done a project like this. I think for first timers, it turned out really, really well. We're also wanting to do some DIY type stuff in our master bedroom, do an accent wall, and in our guest bathroom down here, I think I want to do a shiplap wall in there. So tons of little kind of updates and, you know, things like that happening in our house that I really want to do. And I think it's fairly easy. This honestly wasn't too complicated at all. The biggest and kind of hardest thing to do is to figure out the measurements in between each board. But as long as you can figure that out, then you are good to go. And that's all I got for you guys today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this type of video. If you did, definitely give it a big thumbs up so that I know to do more videos like this in the future. If you'd like to see any other kind of house update projects that we do, definitely let me know, and I can make sure that I include that in our future videos. Don't forget to subscribe before you guys leave to be a part of our crafting family here on YouTube, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!